Hello everyone, William here. In early 2025, the Pokemon Company announced that there's going to be a new language the trading cards are released in, and that is Latin American Spanish. And here I have both copies, the Latin American and the European Spanish. And if you're like me, I wanted to tell the difference. Here is the quickest way. You look at the bottom where the set logo would be, and as you can see, you have JTG LA and JTG ES. This is a Journey Together card, Minccino. And LA indicates Latin American Spanish, and ES would be the European Spanish, the Spanish spoken more so in Spain. Now, if you're like me and I studied Spanish in school, but it's been so long, I'm not really sure the nuances, but that's the easiest way to tell. Another subtle way, which is quite harder to tell, is if you were to look at the Pokédex, their information on height and weight. You can see in the Latin American Spanish card, it has a dot decimal point for the meter and the kilogram, the weight, height and weight, while in the European version, it's a comma between 0.4 meters and 5.8 kilograms. That's one other way that you could tell. Here are two other cards, and it's a bit easier to tell at a glance for Cinccino just because their names are different. But if you're like me and you don't speak Spanish, I did study it in the Caribbean, so most likely what I learned was the Latin American version of Spanish, so I can't just look at these and tell what's technically the difference, which would be more common. But again, you can see that sometimes the name of the Pokemon, well, I believe all the names are the same in both versions, but the attacks have a slightly different wording. And finally, I have two trainer cards. This is not the best example, but you can see here again that the wording between the two variations of Spanish, they have a different, it's different for each Iris Fighting Spirit card. From what I've seen online, and I'll link a resource that goes into more in-depth on the differences between them, but for some trainer cards are going to have their English counterpart name in either Latin American or European Spanish. And then some other trainers are going to have a Spanish equivalent name for their counterpart. But for Iris, she has just Iris as usual, so there's no difference between these two. But once again, the easiest way to tell is just to look at the set logo at the bottom, and LA is for Latin American Spanish and ES will be European Spanish. So there you go, quite simple. I'm not sure if anyone watching this is a language set collector, but I'm imagining that the Latin American one might be a bit harder to find just because it's based in countries like Chile and Peru, which aren't always available. Well, for me, being in Europe, it would be harder to get the Latin American one. Well, I'm sure those in America and Canada will probably be able to have an easier time getting these ones just because there's also Mexico, which is a quite a large country. I'm sure there's a huge player base. So in terms of rarity, they might be on par, but time will tell. But that's all for this video, and thanks for watching.